In 2012, Mark Esterl, my co-founder of Nine Spokes, we started with a really basic premise, and that was we were really excited by changes that were taking place in the software industry for small businesses. Traditionally, large corporates have spent hundreds of millions of dollars on building ERP solutions, but the powerhouse of economies, those SMB businesses from between 1 and 500 employees, have been really poorly served by information technology and even worse served by lack of data insight on how to make business decisions. So we loved what was happening, but we could see some challenges to the business model as it was rolling out. And that is, everyone was buying point solutions and there was no way really to tie them all together so that a customer would get a really nice seamless user journey. So that was in 2012, and actually nothing's changed in our belief in the market since that time. To date, we've raised $40 million. We did a $25 million Australian raise in June this year to list the company on the ASX, and that's gone really well for us. There are three things that we've sought to do as a company, and the first one is, how do small businesses buy their applications? If you want to buy an app today, you go to a search engine like a Google or a Bing or an app store like an Apple or an Amazon, and if you want, say, an inventory management solution, you're going to be overwhelmed by choice. And so what Nine Spokes seeks to do is actually put structure around the purchasing journey for a small business such that when they go to our dashboard or go to our store to buy an app, they can take confidence that the apps that we present are right for their business, are right for their country that they operate in, and the size of organisation that they have. So we take away all that buying confusion, and if the apps support it, then we'll provide a single bill and a single sign-on. And that's the first key thing that we provide. The second task that we perform, if you like, is I've now got 2, 3, 4, 5 apps to run my business, but how do I get a single pane of glass view on how my business is performing at any time? And today you have to go into each of the apps that you've purchased, but actually that's quite cumbersome in how you do that. So we have a single pane of glass. That means on any form factor, at any point on a live basis, I can see how my business is tracking. And it's almost, if it's green, go about your daily business. If there's a red, then there's probably a call to action. So that's the second essential task that we perform. The third thing we do, which is really an opportunity, is I now know how my business is performing, but how am I performing relative to my peers? And I mean the same type of business, the same restaurant or hairdresser or chiropractor or plumber. How do I trade against those businesses in my high street or my town or my country such that I can get data insights to help me run my business better? Do I have the same stock turn? Is my turnover growing the same? Do I get the same productivity from my people? And once you start getting that very rich data, you're actually able to make decisions that should empower your business. And if you can see how the average company is performing, what about best practice? What do the top 10% do? And how can I aspire to be one of those organisations? It's a very powerful data tool for business performance. It's really interesting because when most people consider how many apps that a business might require, they always say, well, how many could it possibly be? But if you consider what we all do, we all love going to restaurants to have dinner. And the first thing we all do is go online and make an online booking. That's an app, one app. But if the business has an app for online booking, they need a domain name, they need a website hosting, they need an email service. I've already got 4 apps. And once you go into the restaurant wants to take cash, they need a point of sale solution. If you've got a point of sale solution, you need a general ledger, you possibly need inventory management, payroll, a rostering solution, and possibly you want a direct mail solution so you communicate with your customers. Well, that's a possibility of 10 apps from what you would think is a very simple business. And that's the same across most industry segments. There can be as few as 1, but probably as many as 10 different applications that you could choose to run your business. We have two essential ways to go to market. We have ninespokes.com, which is now live, and that is our own brand that any organisation can go to our portal and buy their apps, get the dashboard and run their business. The second way we go to market is through channel partners, and these are very large companies or companies who have large SME customer bases where we can add relevance to our channel partner like a Barclays or a Deloitte or a Suncorp and make their relationship more relevant with their customer. So those organisations typically have hundreds of thousands of customers, and from our benefit we get access to significant scale that we wouldn't be able to do automatically through ninespokes.com. And that's one of the ways that we're looking to scale the business. We make our money in 5 different ways. Firstly, in the primary source of revenue is actually we take a reseller margin every time we sell an app to a customer on a monthly recurring basis. And we think that will be our largest source of revenue. We charge price parity to our customers, so we never charge them more than what they would pay if they went to the .com site. But as a very standard industry metric, there's always a reseller margin. We take that fee and that's what we use to fund our core business with. But where we go through channels, there are a couple of other ways that we can make money. Firstly, we have to deploy into that channel, and that takes time and effort and requires a lot of systems integration work. We can take a fee for that engagement. Secondly, when we engage with a channel partner, we basically say to them, you need to pay us a fee, a license fee, for the right to use our software. And that's a significant fee to keep the lights on, if you like. And then once we get underway with that channel, we say we've spent a lot of money engaging with you, building integration points, and it's only right that you give us money or you pay until such time as the app subscription is at a sufficient level to cover our costs. So they effectively underwrite the first number of applications that are purchased. So those are 3 ways we get money from those channel partners. Our 5th way of getting money is really around data analytics. If you can picture that as we get critical mass in the platform, we get a huge amount of very rich data that's relevant back to our customer base, which we will give back to our customers who buy the applications with us. But there are other parties who also want that data. It might be banks, it might be government, it might be trade associations, and we'll package that data so it's relevant and sell that data to those organisations. So they're the 5 ways we can make money. So if you look at where we are right now, the last 12 months has been a massive undertaking on the team to build capability into our platform, and that's both how we engage with our major channel partners like Barclays. Do we have legal agreements? Do we have training agreements? Do we have people on board within our organisation to deal with our partnerships and our and suppliers to the industry? A massive amount of work's done in that last 12-month period. And so from our ability to add speed to the process with other channel partners, actually we've done a massive amount of work that I think will add velocity for the next partnerships. We've got a core platform in place, we've got applications on it, and that will transfer to any other channel that we go. So the first year is always going to be really difficult. And I'm very confident now that we've got those foundations in place in terms of our expertise, our collateral, and a really fantastic group of people in the company. From here on in, it's going to be much easier to scale as we identify and open up other channels. The fintech sector is a really interesting one, and we know that we can do really well on it because we resonate with our banking clients, and we're aggressively going after banks. But they're not the only types of organisations where we think we add significant value. The accounting industry is one that's changed dramatically over the last few years in terms of the services that they provide their customers, and Nine Spokes has a really valuable solution to an accounting firm, as an example, in terms of enabling the accountant to be not just an accountant, but a business advisor across all the aspects of a business to their customers. So that's one channel that we're working very closely with. Another level is there's industry sectors like, I don't know, medical practitioners, for instance, where we know that we have the core platform. By putting new or different apps or medical-based apps into that platform, we can build a presence within those segments. Equally, we could go to real estate chains, or coffee chains through franchise groups or direct ownership, where we know from the research that we've been doing that there's not a lot of applications that are, from an end-to-end process, have been well defined for those sectors. So we've started with really big channels like banking and accounting, but actually there's a lot of channels that we know that we have a lot of relevance to that we'll be going after very aggressively in the coming period of time. Look, we announced that we were going to accelerate our business development activities in the United States, and that's for a very simple reason. When we first went into the UK, we knew that we had a product that would resonate in that market, and we were fairly sure that it would happen in the US. But now that Mark and the team are actually on the ground in the US and spending a substantial amount of time, what we're finding is the same resonance that we had in the UK exists in the United States. So since we've been listed, we've also had a number of inbound inquiries from companies. It's not just outbound where we're looking for opportunities, but people are now coming to us and saying, look, we've heard about what you're doing, can we please talk? So Mark and team are absolutely flat out working on those engagements, and as a result it's giving us the confidence that we're going to go a little bit harder and probably faster than we expected to try and win that anchor customer in the United States, and that's going to continue. As part of that, we're also working with a global alliance partner who we think are going to add strength to us in terms of how we deploy and the speed with which we can get scale in that market. So it's pretty exciting what we think we can do over the next couple of years in the US market.
So I think it's very important to distinguish us as a platform play as opposed to just a typical cloud software. Why this matters is it gives us great flexibility, and if you think about it, as we go into, whether we go into new markets or new verticals, that flexibility is shown. So for example, if we were to go into the US market, which is something that we're clearly working towards, you can see that a number of apps that we already have on our platform we can actually use in the US. That also means that when we go into the US, we don't need to write a lot of code. Essentially, the platform still exists, you don't need to change it. And so the apps actually localize for that geography. And the same thing is true as we go into different verticals. Adrian obviously mentioned a few different verticals. All of those verticals we could actually address through the existing platform. So again, the apps are localizing, or in the case of verticals, making them industry specific. That obviously has a clear implication for our cost base. It also means that we can scale more rapidly, whether it be geographically or vertically. What we're seeing this year is a lot of hard work being done behind the scenes, and particularly in the last quarter since listing, we successfully raised the 25 million Australian, and the team has been very busy deploying some of that and making everything possible so that we've actually handed over the keys essentially to our channel partners so that they're ready to go live in this quarter. So what you'll see during this quarter is you'll see multiple releases to market. Obviously, we've had the very good announcement over the last week that we are already live with our direct platform. You should expect to see other channel announcements follow suit. And then as we look forward over the next 12 months or so, we are obviously doing this business development work with a multitude of parties, the most significant being in the US, but there are other opportunities within Australasia, for example. And we will obviously keep the market informed as we progress those business development opportunities.